Voltron Network.
Welcome people to another episode of BollyFools. Man, it's already been a week. I'm super knackered because of all the chaos that's been happening in my life, and somebody frigging tried to hack my account, so I'm super pissed about that. But I could always rely on Hamza to call me up and just say, dude, just, you know what, just relax. Just relax. We're going to talk about Bollywood. We're going to talk about Indian cinema. We're going to get your mind off of everything. So please tell me, Hamza, you're on the line.
Yes, man. What are you saying? Are you all right?
I'm all right. So I take it your day hasn't, or your week hasn't been as stressful as mine.
It's been stressful, but not as yours. Like, I haven't been hacked yet.
But listen, if this is your first time listening, this is BollyFools. If you don't know us, we used to run a YouTube channel, 55,000 subscribers, and then we kind of gave up. And it wasn't that we gave up because we didn't have love for the industry. It was just, we were just burnt out. And if you've never done YouTubing, recording, editing, uploading, all that stuff is hard work. So we've now turned our show into a podcast, and where we talk about everything to do with Indian films and more. Oh yeah, and obviously Hamza is our producer / tag team partner. And if you do know a bit about the channel and you know that Ravi used to be on it, Ravi will be joining us from time to time, but at the moment Hamza is leading the conversation. So Hamza, you have a very interesting topic list that you emailed to me, so I'm gonna let you take control. Inspire me, tell me a bit more about the things that excite you about Indian cinema and what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, so last night, we spoke yesterday in the afternoon, and you were kind of saying, come up with some topics for the podcast, so different topics. And then last night I was sat, I was thinking, what can we talk about? You know, what's interesting? And I came up with loads of different things. And then again, when we spoke again later on in the night, and I was like, what should we talk about tomorrow? And you kind of said, it's over to you. You decide. So I was so stuck. So I was like, these are some really good topics, and which one do I choose? And then I was thinking, it's not like it's just one podcast. We're going to do loads of episodes. So you know what? Let's start with one, and we can do all these other brilliant ideas later on.
Man.
So today, sorry,
Hamza, I was just going to say, all those topics were friggin' absolutely amazing. And guys, honestly, you want to tune in for this. You want to join us every week to listen to some of these crazy topics, because we're not going to be generic. We're not going to be like other podcasters where we talk about the news of Indian cinema, nothing like that. No, none of that BS. It's going to be really crazy, in-depth conversations, and you know, topics that you might like as well. So do email us. But Hamza, so which one did we finally decide on?
So I thought, why don't we talk about the trend of, you know, Bollywood remaking international films? And because I think it's a really fascinating topic. I think it's good to touch upon it, to see how Bollywood takes maybe a Hollywood film or a Korean film or a French film and adapts it for its audience. And it still sometimes does well, sometimes it's not the best, but they still get something out of it.
I could think of a number of films, right, that have been remixed, and I'm always kind of skeptical. I don't mind if Indian cinema goes through the normal channels of actually remaking something. I know a lot of stuff has been just snatched from certain films. Old Boy comes to mind with what's his name? Sanjay Dutt, that's it. So he comes in mind. But so you put together a certain amount of films, didn't you, that you want us to look at over the years that have been sort of recreated. And it's not just obviously from Hollywood films, it's a lot of South Indian films that have been remade into Bollywood movies as well. What are the films that you've got selected? Because I can't wait to get into this, and I want to know these films that have been replicated in some way.
What I wanted to do first, before we delved into that Bollywood remaking international cinema, I wanted to delve into Bollywood remaking its own films. And over the years, we've seen so many remakes of old Bollywood films. Some have been really successful, some have been really, really bad, so kind of cringy bad. And I wanted to first start with something that was really successful. It released in 2002. It's Devdas. So a lot of people would have seen Devdas, Shah Rukh Khan, but I don't know if a lot of people know that there was an original Devdas back in the 50s with Dilip Kumar. And again, that was then remade to 2002, Shah Rukh Khan, Aishwarya Rai, Jackie Shroff, Madhuri Dixit, and it was an amazing film, and I think it was such a good remake, and Shah Rukh Khan was like the perfect person to kind of replicate what Dilip Kumar did all those years ago. Not saying that he's a better actor than Dilip Kumar, but I think he was the perfect man. I don't think anybody else could have done Devdas like Shah Rukh Khan did it.
कौन कम वक्त बर्दाश्त करने को पीता है? हम तो पीते हैं कि यहाँ पर बैठ सकें.
You've just got way too much time on your hands, man. You are like a freaking walking Wikipedia page. Like,
no, I just love Bollywood. I think it interests me. I just go on and just find out as much stuff as I can.
So Devdas was a remake of film that was obviously headlined by Dilip Kumar. Now, was that no people, that fire ambulance or that police car, whatever it was, wasn't after me? Have you seen the original then?
So I've seen bits of the original. I haven't seen it all, but it is like kind of like scene for scene. It's exactly the same. I haven't actually seen the original, but again, I think that the remake is so well done, and because it's directed by Sanjay Leela Bhansali, it is a proper Sanjay Leela Bhansali film, like the extravagant like kind of sets and the crazy dances, and just Shah Rukh Khan as in that. I think like I know a lot of people would disagree with me on this, but I think it's probably one of his best roles to date.
क्यों इतना पीने के बाद भी उसकी याद हमें सताती है दिन रात?
I think in that film he is so amazing.
That's a good podcast, actually. Thinking about like an actor's greatest performance over the years. I mean, we could really dive deep into that.
There's so many actors like Amir Khan. What would you say his best performances till date? Like,
man, dude, that's mate. That I think is for another podcast. I think we should focus on like this topic list at the moment, because I just like completely. There's stuff that you come up with, Hamza, that it really shocks me, because I really look as BollyFools, our sort of message was that we are going back into Bollywood and we don't know too much about it. So we want you guys who know a lot about Bollywood or Indian cinema to basically teach us. So that's why the name was BollyFools. It's like we don't know too much. But that completely fascinates me. So you got this. What's the other one called? It was called Devdas as well, the original.
Yeah, the original is called Devdas as well. So because the main character is called Devdas, so it's kind of just based around him.
So right, okay, so we've got that film. What else have we got?
So then now I'm going to go into a film that is massive for people. Released in 1975. You've probably seen it. I've seen it. I think a lot of people that are listening to this have seen it. Sholay. Now Sholay was remade in 2007 by Ram Gopal Verma, and it was called Aag. Now this was probably one of the worst films I have seen come out of Bollywood, and also because it's a remake of such a classic film, you expect it to have some kind of like standards, but it was such a bad film, but really bad acting, really bad direction, and just the whole screenplay was all over the place, and it just didn't make sense. Why would you it's not about remaking something. Like, remake it as long as you have like creativity and okay, you know what, I've been given a task to remake a classic film, and I need to be careful about this. But I don't think Ram Gopal Verma understood that what a great film Sholay actually was, because he completely ruined it.
So Sholay, obviously, you're talking about 75. I wasn't born in 75. And your audio is a bit weird, by the way. Just to let you know, you're all right from time to time, but you just kind of muffle up. So guys, do apologize about that. We'll try to clean it up afterwards. So he tried to create, 1975, and when was the other film?
So that was released in 2007.
2007, and who headlined it?
So that was headlined by Amitabh Bachchan. It was also headlined by Ajay Devgan, Sushmita Sen, and there's a couple of new actors, and Mohan Lal from the South Indian industry. So he was playing Sanjeev Kumar's role from the original. So, the Thakur.
Yeah. So
he was playing that role. Amitabh was doing Gabbar Singh. Ajay Devgan was playing Dharmendra's role. They had a new actor, I don't know the guy's name, playing Amitabh's role from the original. Sushmita Sen was playing, Jaya Badri's role. So there was like all these characters. Not that they're bad actors. Like Ajay Devgan's a good actor. Amitabh's an amazing actor. Mohanlal again is a really good actor. I think what it was the actual screenplay. I don't think there was a lot of thought put into it.
So who was the production company behind that? Do you know?
I think it was Reliance.
So, all right. So you have a classic film, right?
Yeah.
From 1975. I still remember that film. I can, even some of the lines come to mind. It's interesting that Amitabh Bachchan decided to play was it Gabbar Singh?
Yeah. And there's a funny story behind that, because I think the reason why was because back in when Sholay was actually being made, Amitabh actually auditioned for Gabbar Singh's role, but he didn't get it.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah, he actually auditioned for that role, but because he wasn't given it, I think that's why this time round he was thinking, that's the role I wanted to do in the first place. Why don't I try it and do it in this?
That's pretty cool, man. So you talk about the screenplay of this film. It was a bit jank. It seems like a script that wasn't put together in the right way. And I think there was a lot of buzz and excitement behind it because it was from an old classic. But it seems like there was a lot of rewrites on set. That's what it seems like it comes across to me.
I think the biggest thing about this film was because it was... So the film, when it was getting made, there was a lot of cases against it. So Ramesh Sippy, the actual director from the original, took Ram Gopal Verma to court, and he kind of said that don't remake. So he took him to court for a reason. He said that you can't use the original names of characters, so character names were changed. And he also did say to Ram Gopal Verma, don't remake this. It's a classic. Leave it how it is. You don't need to remake it. There's no need to remake it. And because Ram Gopal Verma, the way he is, he was like, I'm going to remake this. I've made my decision. I'm going to do it. And then they kind of settled it and said that you can't remake it, but you have to change the name of every character in the film.
So, okay, tell me, whilst we're on the topic of films that are being remade, right?
Yeah.
And you, obviously, with this film, I could sense in your voice that it's something, it means a lot to you, this film, right? So would you, because I always have this debate on the other podcast that I do, would certain people like to see a remake of a movie? Like Back to the Future is one of those that people say, yeah, we want to see a remake, and others say no. And I don't actually have an issue because you've got the original film. So I don't have an issue for them to do a remake. Unfortunately, if it crap, then, that's a bit of, that's messed up. But, at the same time, we can have a remake that is better than the original.
Yeah, of course. That's 100%. That can happen. That the remake can sometimes always be better than the original. But I think with that, I think it's like you need to. So if you are going to remake a film, if you know it's a classic film, if you know it's a big film for audiences, that's a big responsibility already. Because you have to replicate that and make sure that you don't ruin it. So that's a pressure already on that director, that writer, that production company. Like Gabbar Singh in the original, you never saw him come out of the area where he was. He sent his people out, but you'd never see him like freely walking out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he did his thing in the mountains, and he would just like raid all the villages, wouldn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like he sent his people. He'd be like, "You guys go do it. I'm gonna chill here."
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken as well, there's that whole myth as well about Gabbar Singh that that he's like somebody that does not exist, but people are kind of sure, but at the same time they're not sure that he's because I think there's a line in the movie. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, there is a line in the movie where he goes that she put the line, but we will, because we don't know the line, we're gonna put that line into this.
यहाँ से 50 कोस दूर गाँव जब बच्चा रात को रोता है तो माँ कहती है बेटे सो जा नहीं तो गब्बर सिंह आ जाएगा.
Damn, man, this is just, dude, I reckon, right, we could friggin' do a really long podcast on just one of these movies, because I'm just looking at the time. We're already 20 minutes in and we're going strong. So there's so much more that I want to dissect. So what else are we looking at film wise?
So we'll look at what Bollywood's remade of their own, and then we'll move on, and I'll kind of go quickly through it. So the next one we talked about it last week in one of our small segments. So we had Agnipat, which was remade in 2012. So the original was released in 1990, and without Danny Degzogpa and Mithun in the lead roles. And then the remake, we had Rishi Kapoor, we had Hrithik Roshan, Sanjay Dutt, Priyanka Chopra, massive film.
डोंगरी की एक बरसाती में रहने वाला आज यहाँ आया है मुंबई बेचने, बदले में कुछ तो चाहता होगा.
Made on a massive scale, kind of. But I'd say it's probably one of the better remakes of all films. Yeah, I think it was such a good film. I thought Hrithik Roshan was on point. Sanjay Dutt looked amazing as the character. He looked scary. He looked like a villain, basically. And Rishi Kapoor stood out as well. I think because Rishi Kapoor's character was a brand new character. His character wasn't in the old one.
You know Sanjay Dutt's character.
Yeah.
There was this boy at our school, right, that actually looked like that character.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he doesn't like properly look like him. And the interesting thing was that he would get a lot of girls as well for some reason. And we could never understand it. It's like, what the fuck?
The unique look. It's the unique look.
Do you know what I mean? Like bald, properly like hench, you know, like shoulders shrugged, but he had it going on, man. But this is a really interesting one because unlike the others where you've got that were originally huge successes, and then you had their remakes. Some of them were hit and misses, but this particular one was flop to drop, right? Originally it turned into a cult classic, and to this day, you know, anyone that knows anything about Indian cinema talks about this movie. And again, we had a nice little segment of it in our previous podcast. But then you've got this remake that is, some could argue, I don't know, it's better, but some could argue that it's on par with the original.
Yeah, I think the reason so you know what a lot of people do in the remake is they take exactly kind of what they have in the original and just put it into their remake but change it a bit. So for example, Dev Das, this is an unsuccessful film, but the thing about Dev Das was I don't think anything changed. I think it was exactly the same, but it was just made, you know, so many years later with different actors. Whereas the same with Agnipath, what was good about it was all they did was they took the story of a man, Hrithik Roshan, who's coming back to take revenge after 15 years later. So they didn't show Hrithik Roshan as strong as Amitabh was, you know, as they showed him it's like kind of not weak man, but this man who's on a mission and he's gonna get what he wants, whatever it takes. The Agnipath, I think why it did so well was because it was different from its original. People were like, oh, we want to see this just to see what they've done differently.
So here we are with this film. You know what, I actually have not seen. And I know this is really bad, and if you were sitting here, you'd probably just run up, or actually not even run up. Now, yeah, I think if you were a few yards away and I was on a call with you and you were like walking around the corner from where I was, and I said to you, dude, I have not seen, you know, the remake of Agnipath, you'll probably just run up to me and deck me in the face. Because
I'm going to deck you. What I'd do is I'd get you a DVD copy, or I'd tell you to watch it of Amadan, and I said, make sure you watch it, because Hrithik Roshan made his own character, even though they use the same names. It's a whole, because Vijay Dinanath Chauhan from the original is quite a big character. It's quite, when you say that name to people, think, oh, it's from Agnipath, people know, oh, that's sick.
क्या नाम क्या है तुम्हारा? विजय दीनानाथ चौहान पूरा नाम.
Could you imagine that was your name? Hamza Ninanan, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's too long for me.
Okay, so this again, like sticking with this, it took, I wonder what was, with the original, guys, if there's a bit of a weird noise around the place, just to let you know. So originally we were going to record in the office and I was going to call Hamza into the podcast, but I couldn't do that because all in the building, everyone has taken out a room and it's all occupied in the office. So I've had to come into my car and sit down and record here, but behind me, there's a construction site going on. So if there's some weird noise, really sorry, that's what it is. For some reason, every time I want to talk, the crane dude starts up his crane machine. So you got the original with Amitabh Bachchan. He did come across as a proper badass, but Hrithik Roshan does seem like a dude that could get beaten the shit out of.
Vijay Dinanath Chauhan ko marna padega.
He's like, if this happened to you, that character would be you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what was really good about the remake. That what they tried to do with Vijay was that show him that, oh, he's just normal. He's an ordinary guy just trying to take revenge. So he's not like Amitabh in the original, where Amitabh was quite like suave and he was.
Moving on. What else are we looking at?
Now we'll move on to kind of Bollywood remaking international cinemas. So that's like stuff like Korean and your Hollywood cinemas. And this is kind of a big thing for Bollywood, because so some Bollywood films will take rights, they'll buy rights for film, and some Bollywood films won't at all. What they'll do is they'll use the base of that story and they'll change it for their audiences, But then people who have seen the original will watch that film and they'll be like, you know what? I've seen this scene somewhere. Where have I seen it? And you think back, oh, it's from that film. And then in your head you're thinking they definitely have got rights for this, because then a couple of weeks later you'll see that Korean director or Hollywood director filing a case saying, you know, we want money for this.
Yeah, so this one's an interesting one. I think now we're at a time where, because of the internet, everyone knows everyone else's films because the trailer drops, you know, and if it's similar to another movie, let's say like an international movie, you know, the original director or the original production company sees it pretty quickly, and then they could, you know, do their thing. But and because of that reason, I think that they take out a lot more. Bollywood now takes out a lot more rights to.
Yeah, I think that's what I think. The reason is that I think production companies in Bollywood, I think they're trying to understand that, okay, if we want to make this film, let's buy the rights, because otherwise we're not going to be able to release our film.
Yeah. Now I don't know how it goes in South India, so like I don't know if they still purchase the rights in South India. I don't know the laws there, but internationally, I think they are now. Again, I'm not too sure, guys. If you know this better than us, let us know. Send us an email, BollyFools@gmail.com, or tweet at us at BollyFools, or send us a message on Instagram. Let us know what you think.
One of the films that we're going to be talking about is Rocky Handsome. What are your favorite films?
Fuck off. Rocky fucking Handsome.
सामान उसी को वापस मिलता है जिसने गिरवी रखा हो.
Man, yes. What was the Korean version? What was the Korean?
The Korean film's called The Man from Nowhere.
Yes.
And that they did buy the rights for that. Bollywood are starting to kind of understand that we need to buy rights, otherwise, like I said, they won't be able to release that film. They're going to be tangled in some kind of
lawsuit.
Lawsuit.
Sticking with Rocky Handsome.
Yeah.
What's the deal here?
Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to start with films that some films that were kind of remade in the 90s from Bollywood, which rights weren't bought for these films. But if you watch the films, you can kind of tell similarities. So there was a film made back in 1999 with Akshay Kumar, Preeti Zinta, and Ashutosh Rana. So the film called Sangharsh, in which Preeti Zinta plays a police officer. So I want you to guess what film I'm talking about when I describe this Bollywood version to you. Yeah.
Go on.
So Preeti Zinta plays a brand new police officer, just started in the force. Akshay Kumar plays a doctor who's locked up, who she's getting help from to find a serial killer.
Oh, you're talking about Hannibal, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So this is Silence of the Lambs, which was made, I think, 6 or 7 years before Sangharsh. So the whole premise kind of changes, because I'm thinking in Silence of the Lambs, the villain character is called Buffalo Bill, and he kills women and kind of skins them alive. Whereas in Sangharsh, you have the villain who kind of sacrifices children, thinking that, oh, I'm not going to die.
He's like sacrificing in order to preserve his soul,
exactly. So
or his body, his vessel.
I thought it was a good remake. I thought, again, Akshay Kumar is nothing compared to Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal.
So wait, are we talking about this? The first one, right? That was.
I think there was a couple before this, but for me, I think I wanted to talk about this just to start with, because I thought it was, because a lot of remakes of Hollywood films and other cinema films are not good, but this was one that was actually quite good, and it's quite entertaining, and it's quite gripping. It's quite a gripping story.
Yeah.
Where you see, and I think it's gripping because of the villain.
जिसकी सिर्फ तस्वीर देखने से पसीना आ जाए, सोचो अगर वो सामने आए तो क्या होगा?
I think that's the whole. The film all kind of sticks together because Akshay Kumar's character, you know, he plays a mad doctor, you know, trying to help this girl. But again, with Bollywood, they both fall in love. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas the Silence of the Lambs, that doesn't happen. So Anthony Hopkins is a proper evil dude as well.
So, okay, in comparison, when you look at these two films,
yeah,
I know you've got, I mean, Silence of the Lambs is a frigging classic. Everyone knows Silence of the Lambs, but how now I know that the Bollywood version isn't as good, right? But how far off do you feel it is out of 5?
Out of 5?
Yeah.
A 3.
All right, so it's not too far off. I was thinking you might say 2.
I think if they worked more on I think if they took out the love track between Preeti Zinta and Akshay Kumar,
which you can't do.
Yeah, which you can't do because obviously audiences want to see that. But I think if they took that out,
they want to see Preeti Zinta and a mad doctor getting it on.
Yeah, exactly. But if they made Akshay Kumar a bit more kind of like on the Anthony Hopkins level.
Wait a minute, I've got a question for you. Sorry, I'll keep on cutting you there, but I've got a question.
Yeah.
What the hell? And why does Priti Zinta fall in love with a mad doctor? That says a lot about Priti Zinta as a cop.
Yeah, exactly. This is like this guy who was in jail. He was helping her because he's the only guy that can track this serial killer down. She falls in love with him. It just shows that she didn't really care about her job because that's.
But she don't fucking care about anyone. She doesn't care about herself, her family, because he's a freaking mad doctor. giving him like, I don't know, like a week or a month with you, he's probably just gonna like end up killing you.
Well, no spoiler alerts, but yeah, actually, I want people to watch this film and tell me what you think of it. Tell me, do you think it's as good as? Because some people might say it's as good. I don't think it is. Well, some people might say it's as good, but I don't think anybody will. If anybody does, then I'd like to speak to them.
No, just have a little conversation on the podcast. Okay, so
yeah, so that's the first one I was kind of wanted to touch upon. The next one, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen the original. I don't know if you've seen the remake, but Reservoir Dogs.
Oh my God, please tell. I know there's a friggin' remake of Reservoir Dogs.
So Reservoir Dogs was remade in Bollywood as Gante, with Sanjay Dutt, Amitabh Bachchan, Sunil Shetty, Mahesh Manjrekar, and who else is there? There was another Lucky Ali, the singer Lucky Ali.
That's quite the lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, back when I remember when it released, I think, how old was I? I was 8 or 9 years old, and I remember people were going crazy over this film because they were like, oh, there's Sanjay Dutt in it, Amitabh's in it, Sunil Shetty's in it. And at the time, I was quite young, so I didn't know like much.
What year was that?
Sorry?
What year was that again?
2002.
Man, okay, 2002. I remember those years. So, all right. So, what was the film like? I mean, you've clearly seen it. What did you think?
So, I've seen Reservoir Dogs, and I think Reservoir Dogs is an amazing film. I think it was one of Quentin Tarantino's first films.
That lump of shit's working with the LAPD. I don't have the slightest fucking idea what you're talking about.
To be honest, all his films are amazing. They've always got this kind of like edgy kind of story. Like his new films, but I thought the way that he told the story in the original, it was his first film as a director.
Oh, you've already checked it?
Yeah, I checked it. So it's 1992, and it was like that was his first. So I think I thought it was an amazing story because the thing with the Bollywood one is, so in the original, in Reservoir Dogs, the film starts with all these guys who are going to rob this jewelry store, sat around kind of eating breakfast. And then they get up, they walk out, and the titles kind of happen. Then the titles kind of fade, and all you hear is screaming.
I'm gonna die! Hey! I'm sorry! I can't believe she killed me, man! Who fucking got that? Hey!
So you basically find out that this guy's being shot, and he's in the back of the car with his other guy, the other guy that he's robbed the jewelry store with. And they go and they kind of hide out in this kind of like garage type place, this warehouse place. So it kind of, you don't get to see the robbery, you don't get to see the build up to the robbery. But
yeah, that's just saving budget, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That's saving budget, saving time because it's quite a short film. But what I think is quite nice is about the original, which I think is quite good, is each character, they don't call themselves by their names. They call themselves by colours. So you have Mr. Pink, Mr. Brown, Mr. Black, Mr. White.
Here are your names. Mr. Brown, Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Blue, Mr. Orange, Mr. Pink.
Throughout the whole film, you don't know the names.
See?
All you know is by their what do you call it? Their colours.
Right. See this. The thing is, certain films, right, by like one of my favorite Hollywood directors is Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. I don't think there's anyone within the industry that quite makes a film like him. Like there is something about his style of filmmaking that is just friggin'. It's all the way through. It's friggin' eye candy for me. And it was what was this film called? Gante.
Gante, yeah.
Yeah. So. To know that they did a remake of Reservoir Dogs, that just kind of annoys me because I suppose this whole thing of certain films are very, very close to me, and I don't mind if a Western director or Tarantino did it again. Well, actually, I wouldn't want to see that either, but I just feel that certain films shouldn't. Maybe okay, if there's a Western film, right, a couple of years later on they could do a remake, but I just don't think that the Bollywood should have touched this one. But you are fine with this, is that correct? You thought it was okay?
Yeah, I think the reason why I'm fine with it is because I think what they've done in the Bollywood version is they've used a story of 6 guys that come together to pull off a bank robbery. Whereas it's the same in this. You have all these guys that are pulling off a robbery. The difference with the Bollywood version is that you see this build up. So you see them all, they know each other somehow. They all end up in prison together. So the thing with the Bollywood version is that it takes bits from loads of different films. So it takes the story from Reservoir Dogs, a bit of the usual suspects.
हम में से कोई भी अगर अपनी तकदीर बनाना चाहेगा तो ये लोग उसे बनने नहीं देंगे.
And there's some parts of like some films from Hong Kong called City on Fire. I might be wrong, but yeah, it's called City on Fire. But yeah, that's so the part that they take from the usual suspects is that they try to show that these guys are always, whenever anything goes wrong, they're always bringing these same guys as the usual suspects. So that I don't know if you've seen the usual suspects, haven't you?
I have seen the usual suspects, yes.
Yeah. So that's the kind of same thing that happens in that
With
film. That
Kevin
these
Spacey
guys,
in it, isn't it?
Sorry, say that again.
Kevin Spacey's in that, right?
Yeah, Kevin. That's an amazing film as well.
Yeah. So it you know, okay, so you thought this film was good, but like the thing about you, right, Hamza, and I mean this in the most nicest way possible, right?
Yeah.
You have a bit of a soft spot for Bollywood movies. Like you said, like, you know, when people turn around and say to you, dude, like, you know, that's not cool, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you, and I don't know why they say that, but like, you truly do have, and you go so far as really arguing with them or debating with them your point to why you feel Bollywood cinema, and it's an awesome industry, not saying that, but you just have this extra soft spot. So therefore, I question, because Reservoir Dogs was such a good film, I question their remake on this movie. Now, I have probably seen it and I just can't remember it because I suffer from amnesia. But I
That's
could.
one of our next films.
Yeah, I know. Did you see that? See what I did? But that's my biggest concern, is that because you have like a bit of a soft spot, you'll basically say, you know what, they really did bring it justice when someone like me.
I would never. I'm not saying it brought it justice. What I'm kind of saying is that it wasn't as bad as you're thinking. Even though, like, yeah, of course they've taken such a great film and made it into this Bollywood version with music, with songs, you know, and I just think that it's for the Bollywood kind of the style that it is, it's fine for what it is, but it's not as good as Reservoir Dogs. I would never say that, because the Reservoir Dogs is an amazing film. It's well made. The story is so gripping. It keeps you there, and you want to know what's happened next.
Did they pay for the license for this film? Do you know?
No, so they didn't buy the rights for this film. But you know what, though? Quentin Tarantino did an interview a couple of years ago, and I remember watching it. The interviewer asking him, saying to him, "Oh, so a lot of your films have been remade. Which one's your favorite?" And he said Kante. He goes, "A lot of my films have been remade, and one of my favorite remakes of my film is Kante."
Wow.
Yeah, he did that interview.
That's interesting, you know. That is really interesting. Okay. Well, you know, like, if you take Tarantino, he does a lot of, not necessarily remakes, but he basically takes a lot of films and plays around with them, and certain scenes, if I'm not mistaken, are copied from other films, not all the way through. But yeah, so I suppose, but I think that with Kante, it's just a complete, not 100% rip-off, but you could say 60% at least, right?
Yeah, so Kante is like, they say it's a remake of, it's not an official remake, it's a remake of Reservoir Dogs. Basically, like I said, it's got elements of, you know, The Usual Suspects and City on Fire, which is a Korean film.
So should we move on to the next film?
Yeah, let's do it. So as you were saying before that you usually have amnesia, I think you really relate to this next film. I don't know if you've seen the remake. I don't know if you've seen the original.
Yeah,
Memento.
I have seen the original. Now, Memento by Chris Nolan.
Yeah.
Yes, is a very, very awesome film. Now, you can watch that film forward or backwards, can't you? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's
how.
how.
Yeah. You can.
Yeah, that's how well it's done. However, with Gajni, that's the film, isn't it?
Yes, Gajni.
Now, I think that was actually pretty good, and you know, and the reason why I say that is because apart from I enjoyed the movie, I will also say that it seems like Amir Khan isn't just your usual normal actor.
मेरा नाम संजय है।
क्या?
संजय सिंघानिया। तुम्हारा नाम गजनी है.
He seems like somebody that really seriously takes time to digest his script, really thinking about it, seeing it from a direct, because every single his films, if you look at them, they're all hits. A lot of them are hits.
Yeah. Besides Thugs of Hindustan.
Yeah, but apart from that, they are very, very good, entertaining movies.
I think everybody's sorry to interrupt you. I think what the good thing about Amir Khan is, which a lot of directors say about him, is that of course they call him perfectionist, but the big thing about him is that if the character requires you to do something or be like a certain way, he will go to that extent to become like that character. So, for example, in Dangal, he was expected to put on loads of weight to play the older version of the wrestler. But he, in an interview, he goes, an interviewer asked him, why didn't you just wear a fat suit, to maybe look fat? And he goes, no, that's not authentic. He goes, I want to look like I am fat. He goes, I want to feel like that. And he goes, that isn't fun. He goes, wearing that suit every day isn't fun. That's not the fun. He goes, my job is to become that character. And then he goes, that's what I did.
Did he just say that, like, dude, he just felt like eating like burgers and chips and just like?
Yeah. He goes that he loved putting the weight on. He was like, I could eat whatever I wanted, and I knew that I have to do that. I have to eat whatever I want so I can get in the shape that I want.
Now, okay, that was for Dangal. This wait, hold up. Was that for Dangal?
Yeah, for Dangal he put on weight.
Wait a minute. What's the film based off Memento?
Oh, so we're talking about Gajini.
Yeah, sorry. There you go. I got sidetracked there. So, yeah, because Gajini, he actually beefed up, didn't he? He actually...
Yeah, so there's a full kind of video online showing his transformation from, like, he's quite skinny, and then they show his transformation. I think they did it over a year and a half, where he just beefed up completely, and by the end of it, he looks quite. He does look like he can do some damage.
He took that role incredibly serious, and out of all the sort of Bollywood remakes that I've seen, that are international movies, this was probably one of my favorites, because I just feel that it was really, really well executed all the way through. And at times you try to find holes in the movies. There was a few that I could find here or there, but just overall it was really, really nice to watch. Although the film wasn't a nice film, it's like a really messed up film. But also at the same time, it really did feel like with this one they put their own serious twist to it. It wasn't just like taken, shot by shot, scene by scene. It really did feel that this was its own new thing, if you like.
Yeah, because this film was actually a remake of a South film. Gajni was so you had Memento, then you had the Gajni from the South Indian industry, and then you had the Gajni in Bollywood.
Okay, so so I didn't realize that the South Indian one probably is also really good.
There's a South Indian one with Surya as playing Amir Khan's role.
Yeah, see, Surya is a proper badass, So, have you seen that one, that version of it?
I haven't seen the South Indian one. I know. Again, I think Bollywood does this with a lot of its films when it remakes South Indian. The climax in this Gajni, the Amir Khan one, is different to the South Indian one.
Huh. Okay.
The climax. So Amir Khan rewrote the climax himself.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Again, because I think if I've read right, I might be wrong. So if I am, guys, let me know. But I think in the South Indian climax, you have Surya fighting off both these villains. So there's two villains. So they're twin brothers. So the Gajni, he has a twin brother in the South Indian one.
Okay.
So he's fighting off both these two brothers in the South Indian one, whereas in the Bollywood version, it's completely different. There's no twin brother. It's just Gajni himself.
Okay, so did you have a lot of fun with this, or is this one of your least favorite sort of remakes, or how did you feel?
Again, I thought this is one of my. It's not one of my all-time favorite remakes of a Hollywood film, but I think it was well done. And again, you can't make a film. I don't think they could have made it just like Memento, because I don't think the Indian audience would appreciate that. I think they like that they've taken the base of what Memento is and they've turned it into a Bollywood film where, like, the love track in this film is so long. I think it's half the film is just Amir Khan's like love story and building the actual attack.
See, you've brought back a few memories now because you know, like I always talk about my running tracks. I love Indian music, Bollywood music. I love it. But one of the tracks comes to mind with this film, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of color. It's almost as if it's an open area, sand. Maybe you could play it in the background when you do the edit for this.
It's Guzarish.
Oh, is that the track?
That's the track, yeah.
Oh, look at you, man. You're on fire, dude. Look at you. You know what? You're so in the wrong industry. You need to be friggin' directing or writing a script.
You know what? I just need to do it somehow. I need to get on a plane. I need to go to India, and I need to get Raj film and be like, yo, I can write you an amazing script. Just give me a chance. But it doesn't work like that, does it?
No, unfortunately, nowadays it really doesn't. However, man, like, you're more than welcome to try. You might be the lucky one. So Gajni, you thoroughly enjoyed. Good remake of Memento.
Yep.
I think the scale for this film was bigger than when you look at.
Yeah, it was a lot because Memento was it was like an independent film, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an indie movie, isn't it? Small little.
Yeah, it was an indie movie because I remember talking like finding like research and stuff about it.
So I know, guys, we are like kind of these conversations, right? Each one of these films can have literally an hour segment. There's just so much to dissect, and maybe we'll do that. For the time being, what we're doing is we're just sketching over some of these movies, and we're just having a bit of a discussion, as you guys can hear. But I think later on what we might do is, if you guys are listening to this, like as I said, pin us a message on Gmail, BollyFools@gmail.com. Twitter handle is obviously BollyFools, and Instagram is BollyFools as well. Pin us a message, you know, if there's something that you want us to talk a bit further about, or you want to join us on the podcast and just talk about some of these movies and get your sort of views on them and your take about remake films, we would love to have you on board. So, dude, like, I would love to honestly carry on this discussion, right? But I think we're going to have to, for time, we're going to have to like talk about one more movie.
That's fine.
Go on. What's your last one?
Okay, so we'll finish with so I was torn between these two films, but I'm going to do this because we've talked about Rocky Handsome quite a bit, and I think we should just leave Rocky Handsome in our past now.
Right.
We should let Johnny Brown have that he did something so ridiculous. I'm going to talk about I Saw the Devil. Have you seen I Saw the Devil? It's another Korean film.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so I Saw the Devil follows the story of it's the same guy from Old Boy. So it follows the story of this guy who's a serial killer, and he kills women. So he drives this kind of this bus, and he picks women up thinking that they're getting a lift from him, and he kills them. So on one kind of occasion, he picks this woman up and he kills her, and her fiance turns out to be this agent, and he's kind of dealing with her death now and thinking, what do I do? And he thinks the only way that I'm gonna get peace is I need to kill him. I need to find this guy and kill him. But the best thing about it's not a normal revenge film. It's so well done. It's like you think when he first meets him, he's gonna kill him, but what he says to him is, and you'll see this in the trailer, is he's got him in like a headlock, and he says to him, he goes, you think, so he said, obviously it's in Korean, but the translation is, you think that I'm gonna let you die this easily. He goes, you're gonna feel 1,000,000 times pain than what you caused my fiance. And then he's just like beating him up, and I thought that film was amazing. It's so well done. So, and again, coming back to the gore, it's so gory. Like, you see this guy killing women, and you wouldn't see that anywhere else.
So what was the Indian version called?
So the Indian version is called Ek Villain.
हर लव स्टोरी में एक हीरो होता है, एक हीरोइन और एक विलन.
Siddharth Malhotra.
Yes, with some pretty awesome songs in it. Now, this wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, this wasn't too bad, right? This did pretty well.
Again, it wasn't. So again, it followed the same story. But the only difference was that in Ek Villain, Siddharth Malhotra plays basically a gangster turned good by Shraddha Kapoor, and Ritesh Deshmukh plays a guy who just gets abused by his wife, so he's taking his anger out on other women, so he's killing the other women to like kind of feel better that, okay, you know, I can't say anything to my wife, but I can kill these women and feel better about it.
तुम सबकी निकलती जान के साथ मेरी हर चिंता, सारी स्ट्रेस भी निकल जाती है.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay. That sounds. I like that. I like the fact that this dude is in a relationship with his wife, and there's something about his wife that he likes, or well, maybe doesn't like, or there's something he can't basically cause any sort of harm to her because of maybe his family and the families and all that. Because if he did, then obviously the families will get involved and they know that he's the killer. So he just does it on the side with other women. I like that story. I think that sounds pretty cool.
I really liked it as well. I thought it was good, the concept that they used, because it was still like that base of I Saw the Devil, but they again made it for the Indian audience, but they made it quite well, because you still they didn't dumb down the serial killer. They still show him that because I can't do anything to my wife, because I love her and I don't want to say anything to her, I'm going to do it to other women, and that's going to make me feel better. It's going to make my load, my stress come down. And then you have this other character. They're kind of two opposite characters. So you have there's a scene in the film where Ritesh Deshmukh kind of says to Siddharth Malhotra, he goes to him, he goes, we're both doing this for our wives. He goes, I kill women, so then I don't have to do it to my wife, and you're trying to kill me for your wife for revenge. And it's so cool, because that's what the whole thing is, that they're trying to, they're kind of exactly the same.
ये देख, तू और मैं बचपन के बिछड़े हुए जुड़वा भाइयों की तरह है, सेम टू सेम. तू मेरी जान लेना चाहता है अपनी बीवी के लिए, और मैं सबकी जान ले रहा था अपनी बीवी के लिए.
Dude, this has, and you would say as a remake, this film.
I say as a remake, I think it was a good remake. I think it was well made, good music, good characters. You see these characters' backgrounds, why they are the way they are, and I think it's a really good remake. Again, it couldn't be on the level of I Saw the Devil, because again, I was saying, because that's so gory and you see so much in that, they can't put that into a Bollywood film. I don't know, maybe they can, but they didn't. But again, I don't think they would be able to, because it's so. If you watch it, or if anybody who's listening watches it, and you tell me as well how gory it is, and how you see these scenes where, you know, people are getting chopped up or getting their foot stabbed and hand stabbed, and this guy's like putting his hand through it, and it's so weird that you're saying you get a bit uncomfortable watching it, thinking, yo, this is a bit creepy.
So here's so this is sort of a theme that I've picked up with this sort of conversation about Hollywood films and remakes and Korean movies and all this, right? So the thing that I've picked up here is, what's really fascinating to me is that it seems like as we go further, as we move on, the films, the remakes, they just get better. And it also feels, the reason maybe for that is because of more budget, more attention to detail, better writing, better directing, and sort of Indian directors sort of learning that, hey, hold up, we can't, where before maybe we could get away with it. I don't think even that's right, but I feel that the creativity level over the years for Indian filmmakers has just, they are more creative. It really does feel like that. Then because it feels like the other films, they're really two-dimensional, whether these ones really feel like there's that extra layer on them to get them as close as possible to the remake, or put their own bizarre, crazy twist to it in order to turn it into something equally as good as the original.
Yeah, that's true. That is, I think what's happening now is, as like you were saying, as we're going along, I think these remakes are going to become like the same film that we've already seen. So I think the reason for that is as well is because these guys are now buying rights. They can't do the exact remake. Whereas I think in the past, what was happening was they were just remaking these films without rights, and they were thinking, we need to change certain things so people don't pick up on it. Obviously, people pick up, and obviously people watch it and they're like, okay, this scene's from that film.
But they've also got to impress the original filmmaker as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah, 100%.
You know, as a filmmaker, the last thing you want is to take a film, take a script, copy the crap out of it, and then just deliver it. But now it's different because you're also the international audience is now also watching because of the internet. They want to see these trailers as well, and give their own thoughts to it. So you're not just catering for the Indian audience, and you know, like I think the Indian audience maybe back then was a bit more forgiving when it came down to certain films, but I think now they've matured so much over the years, and they, you know, obviously Hollywood cinema, Korean cinema, whatever the cinema they watch, they watch a bit of everything now, where before it did feel like there was just mainly just Bollywood cinema. So I think the Indian audience has also matured as well and wants really good quality movies and super high production stuff as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what it is. I think in the past year we've seen that Bollywood audiences want better quality films.
Dude, I think any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I was going to say that to everybody that's listening, all the films that we mentioned, go watch them, let us know what you think. If we miss something out, then I'm sorry on my behalf. Let me know though, and I'll watch it. If I've already seen it, I'll let you know what I thought of it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, my sort of final thoughts are what I said earlier on, that it does feel like that Indian remakes now are becoming better, where before there was an issue with budget, there was there wasn't so many eyes on the movie. Now and there's a lot to answer to now as well. I mean, like it's a cutthroat industry, the film industry, but now it's even more crazy, so you have to friggin' deliver, and if you don't, then obviously nobody wants to lose out. So as time has gone on, films are just getting better, and I hope that trend continues, and I look forward to that as well. Guys, sorry, I'm speeding up a bit. We're just over time. So if you want to join us, join in the conversation. It is BollyFools@gmail.com. And we will get back to you once you send us a message. And obviously Instagram, Twitter are both BollyFools. If you enjoyed this episode, do help us out, guys, by going to iTunes, giving us a 5-star rating there, putting down something positive for us in the comment section. It really helps us grow the podcast and the channel as well. So if you can do that for us, we would really, really appreciate it. All right, guys, so we're going to leave you to it. From your boy Salem.
And from me, Hamza.
Peace.
Salut.